Irish people have been digging up their land and burning it for heat for over 1,000 years, and until recently, half of Ireland's electricity came from literally setting the ground on fire. Here's what sounds impossible but isn't. How do you burn dirt? The answer is peat, and it's one of the most uniquely Irish things that barely exists anywhere else. Peat is partially decomposed plant material that's been compressing in Ireland's bogs for over 10,000 years. Since the last ice age, it's basically proto-coal that never finished turning into coal. Ireland's bogs cover about 20% of the country, and for centuries, cutting turf was how rural Irish families survived winter. Here's how the traditional process works, and it's pure back-breaking labor. First, you go to your family's section of bog, because in Ireland, families own strips of bogland passed down for generations. You use a sleán, which is a special spade with a narrow blade and a wing on the side that cuts perfect rectangular blocks of peat. You cut vertically into the bog about 3 to 4 feet down where the peat is densest and oldest, slicing out wet, heavy bricks that are about 90% water and look like chocolate cake. Then comes the hard part, drying. You can't burn wet peat, it just smokes and smolders. So you stack the bricks in small pyramids called footings, right there in the bog to let wind dry them for weeks. Then you restack them into bigger piles called rickles or stooks to dry even more. After 6 to 8 weeks of drying in Ireland's rainy climate, which is a gamble because one bad storm can ruin everything, you finally bring the dried turf home and stack it in a turf shed, where it finishes drying for months. A single winter's worth of heat for one house requires cutting, drying, and stacking thousands of individual bricks of peat. Entire communities would spend weeks in the bogs together cutting turf, and there's still an Irish saying, "There's no turf like your own turf," meaning nothing beats the satisfaction of heating your home with fuel you cut yourself. The smell of burning turf is impossible to describe. It's sweet, earthy, smoky, and every Irish person who grew up in the countryside knows it instantly. It's nostalgia you can smell. But here's the controversial part. Peat bogs are vital carbon sinks that took 10,000 years to form, and burning them releases massive amounts of CO2. Ireland's government has been trying to ban turf cutting to meet climate goals, but rural communities pushed back hard because turf cutting isn't just fuel, it's culture, heritage, and for some older people, their only affordable heat source. As recently as 2020, Ireland was still generating electricity by burning peat in massive power stations.